Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. There was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the wedding. When the wine ran short, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, how does your concern affect me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now there were 6 stone jars there for Jewish ceremonial washings, each holding 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus told them, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Draw some out now and take it to the head waiter." So they took it, and when the head waiter tasted the water that had become wine, without knowing where it came from, although they who had drawn the water knew, the head waiter called to the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves good wine first, and then when the people have drunk freely, an inferior one. But you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this as the beginning of his signs at Cana in Galilee, and so revealed his glory, and his disciples began to believe in him. The Gospel of the Lord.
Today is the feast of Our Lady of Lourdes, the celebration of the apparitions at Lourdes, where the Blessed Mother appeared to Bernadette Soubirous in France. Praise you, Jesus, in France. We go back here, however, to the prophet Isaiah. As a mother comforts her child, so I will comfort you. Jesus, in his humanity, requires the care and the comfort of a mother. And as she comforts Jesus, she is comfort to Jesus' body, the church. And when all seems lost, she seems to be the one at work, often behind the scenes, with her son. In the Gospels, she's Jesus' cheerleader, as any good mother would be. She goes to all his big games and cheers him on. And she is there for the inauguration of his mystery, of the mystery of his ministry in the Gospel of John, where the first miracle takes place as quickly as in chapter 2 of St. John's Gospel, the wedding of Cana, where Jesus turns water into wine. She would encourage him to turn water into wine because of a need of a wonderful married couple. She was invited to this wedding feast, and when you look at the text, it's almost like she was invited and Jesus could come along if he wanted. And so she turns to her son and she encourages him, "Get going on your ministry now. People need this." And he says, "It's not my time yet." And she says to the servants, "Do what he tells you." And you know what's going to happen, what any good son would do. "Yes, Ma." And so he turns the water into wine, and it becomes the prelude of his ministry on the cross, where his precious blood would be poured out in abundance from the altar of the cross to the altar of all the churches that would ever come to be, to feed everyone on the precious body and blood of Jesus in the Eucharist. Jesus' Eucharistic presence is presaged by this event. Mary helps to provide for the body. In the experience of Fatima in Lourdes, the historical context, the apparitions take place in 1858. 1858. 4 years before, St. Pius IX declares the doctrine of the Immaculate Conception as an infallible teaching. This comes in the wake of great scientific skepticism and pride, especially from the Darwinian Revolution, where his theory calls into question by science, imagine the audacity, calls into question that God, an intelligent God, creates an intelligent human being. They question that whether Adam and Eve really existed. It throws out the whole understanding of original sin. And it completely nullifies the fall from grace and the need from a Redeemer. And so the doctrine of the Immaculate Conception becomes an answer of the Church by St. Pius IX, a doctrine unknown to Bernadette Soubirous. But to her bishop's surprise, she comes to him and says, I've seen this lady in white, and she calls herself the Immaculate Conception. You can imagine what the bishop thought, because this wasn't great public news all over Facebook. He was surprised that someone knew, and she had never heard this before. It ratified his decision for the doctrine of the Immaculate Conception, and it was also the beginning of Mary preparing Christ's body to continue to minister the precious blood of mercy around the world, especially since World War I was right on the horizon, when there would be much mercy needed, at a time when people would be wondering, where is God in all this? And Mary is helping prepare the way by coming to little children who are so pliable and open. And she reveals this secret to them, that she is the Immaculate Conception. And so here was Mary's portion to the children, her preparation for Jesus to become the fountain of mercy at a time of great need. And so seeds of hope for great tragedy that would be on the horizon. And this work of Mary continues as she nurtures God's children to continually go to Jesus for his love and mercy, as she invites us today, even on this feast, invites us to the altar of the Eucharist to receive the precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ to sustain us.
Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, qui aquam meruisti portare, alleluia, resurrexit sicut dixit, alleluia.